Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thanks for joining us live for the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. We'll begin right away with our headlines. Passengers plying the Boya-Kumba stretch of road in the southwest region were intercepted recently by separatist fighters on the grounds of disrespecting the traditional ghost towns instituted by the separatist fighters over 5 years now. With focus to discourage illegal migration within the sub-Saharan zone, the minister delegate at the Ministry of External Relations in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, granted in audience this Wednesday, November 10th, the Equator Guinean ambassador to Cameroon, Armando Kato. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, who doubles as the president of the local organizing committee of the 2021 AFCON, Narcis Moil Ekombi, has this Wednesday, November 10, expressed satisfaction with the advancements of works at the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé. Those were our headlines. We will be right back. As you heard in one of our headlines, the Anglophone crisis is still very much alive, with much harm being inflicted on the civilian population by Amber Boys, and at times the military. 5 years on it is really time to stop the disaster, and it is in this light that the CPTM militants had a dialogue with Dan Nenkam. Let's take a listen.
His Excellency Paul Biya is a good president. He proposes us democracy, tolerance. Accept it. You have to, you know it. I cannot say that the president is responsible of Anglophone crisis. I cannot accept it. You know that our president is promoting peace, tolerance, is promoting good policy, but he's betrayed by his collaborators. I cannot accept it. You have to recognize it. My president is not responsible of Anglophone crisis. It's a political problem. The issue, the solution is political. I believe that my president proposed us dialogue, proposed us tolerance.
Passengers plying the Boya-Kumba stretch of a road in the southwest region were intercepted recently by separatist fighters and subjected to torture for several hours before being released by their abductors, as BrigadeAntiSardinard tells us more in the following report.
These are passengers who are taken hostage by a faction of separatists on the Kumba-Boya stretch in the southwest region of Cameroon in the early hours of Monday, November 8, 2021. The passengers on board a 35-seater bus are horrified following the interception by the Amber Boys. The reason for taking them to captivity was because they are traveling on a Monday, which is observed in the English-speaking regions of Northwest and Southwest as a traditional sit-home day following the ongoing socio-political upheavals rocking the region for over 5 years now. The passengers were subjected to torture, forced to pledge to respect the ghost town days through a song. Among those taken hostage were nursing mothers, old parents, businessmen and students who were subjected to torture for several hours for violating the customary Monday ghost town. According to confined sources, they were later released by their adopters, but Cameroonians have so far kept asking a rhetorical question on social media: when will the inhuman treatment, kidnapping for ransom, killing of innocent people and torture of civilians come to an end in the Anglophone regions? The peace and unity previously enjoyed in the nation, where our forefathers toiled in love, joy and peace, have been sacrificed on the altar of greed, where ethics means nothing and killings normalized.
Still in connection to the Anglophone crisis, we remain in the southwest region, where an explosive has gone off in an amphitheater in the University of Buea in Cameroon's conflict-hit southwest region. Some students are said to have been injured by the explosive device, but the level of damage remains uncertain. This comes to add to the recurrent explosive in Buea that kept the population in total panic. Let's now move to something else, where Cameroon and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have this Wednesday, November 10th, signed a framework agreement at the Ministry of External Relations. The agreement was signed by the Minister Delegate at the Minister of External Relations in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, and the Saudi Arabian Minister of State in charge of African Affairs, His Excellency Ahmed bin Abdelaziz Guatan. We have details with Bertrand Tita.
Bilateral review of the relations between Cameroon and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has come under review through a signing of a framework agreement between both nations this Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. In the yesteryears, cooperation ties between Yaoundé and Riyadh had centered on social economy, cultural development, trade, amongst others. Relations between both nations will henceforth surpass these confines to embrace security and defense matters. Reason one could understand why the Saudi Arabian Minister of State in charge of African Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Ahmed bin Abdelaziz Guatan, accompanied by the Saudi Arabian ambassador to Cameroon, was at the Ministry of External Relations, received by the Minister Delegate to the Ministry in charge of cooperation with the Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo.
Before I delve into the crux of my statement, kindly permit me, on behalf of His Excellency Bella Bella, Minister of External Relations of the Republic of Cameroon, and on my own behalf, to wish you once more a warm welcome to Cameroon.
Going by the signing of the framework agreement, Saudi Arabia will assist Cameroon in combating terrorist insurgencies in the country. A bronze palm was handed to the Saudi Arabian emissary, and in return, Minister Felix Mbanyo was given a bronze camel. The laying down of groundwork for a fruitful cooperation between Cameroon and Saudi Arabia will be a booster to what both countries already share since 1966.
Still in connection to the framework agreement between the Republic of Cameroon and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Minister Delegate to the Ministry of External Relations in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, expatiated on the bilateral cooperation between both nations, which dates back to 1966. Let's take a listen to the minister's excerpt, carefully selected to us by Bertrand Tita, speaking on the microphone of Samuel Bonis.
Cameroon and Saudi Arabia, as the minister just stated, have had official diplomatic relations since 1966. Over the years, the relations have been made concrete through the opening of resident diplomatic missions in both countries. And in this regard, it is worth noting that the largest Saudi Arabian embassy in Africa is located in Cameroon. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations, both countries have relentlessly undertaken actions geared towards enhancing and further consolidating cooperation between vibrancy of this cooperation is noticeable on several fronts. First, the exchange of high-level visits between the plenipotentiaries of both states, concretized today by the visit of the minister, and these visits total to nearly a dozen paid recently. As a matter of fact, these exchanges have oftentimes been the foundation for the consolidation of cooperation between Cameroon and Saudi Arabia, required as necessary to find common ground on issues of common interest. It is in this connection that many Cameroonian officials have visited Saudi Arabia and that senior officials of Saudi Arabia have visited Cameroon.
The operation ties between Cameroon and neighboring Equatorial Guinea have been revisited with focus to discourage illegal migration within the sub-Saharan zone. This was during an audience at the Ministry of External Relations granted by the Minister Delegate in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, to the Equatorial Guinean ambassador to Cameroon, Armando Okato. Bertrand Tita was present and brought back the following report.
Following the mass arrest of hundreds of sub-Saharan migrants, including Cameroonians in the capital city of Equatorial Guinea, Bangui, at the beginning of November 2021, a vast operation against illegal migration in Equatorial Guinea is aimed at installing security in the said country. Worried about the case of Cameroonians arrested, the ambassador of Equatorial Guinea to Cameroon, His Excellency Armando Conte, was received in an audience at the Ministerial Department of the Ministry of External Relations by the Minister Delegate to the Ministry of External Relations in charge of cooperation with the Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, this Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. During the close to one-hour audience, both personalities discussed ways to put an end to illegal migration, the long good relations between neighboring countries, security, as well as social network. As two friendly and brotherly nations, they support each other in times of difficulty. A humanitarian mission was sent to Equatorial Guinea on March 15, 2021, by the President of the Republic following the unfortunate violent fire outbreak in a military base in Bata on Sunday, March 7, 2021. Border security remains a major concern for the two nations. A cooperation agreement on collaboration and joint action modalities of cross-border security between Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon was signed in Malabo on July 21, 2020. The agreement consolidated proceedings undertaken in Yaoundé on June 29 and 30th to strengthen the cross-border defense and security. Bilateral relations between the two countries in various domains have always been described by either parties as friendly, with concerted efforts on further deepening the ties.
Let's now move to the littoral region of the country, where the 5th forum to analyze the efforts put in by startups as far as the development of startups is concerned opened today in Konsamba. The session that unfolded under the auspices of Airport Eno, Director General of Antique, was an avenue for these stakeholders to brainstorm on the innovation in the sector of education, as Jan Nenkam tells us in the following report.
Opening this Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 in Konsamba, littoral region of the country, is the 5th forum on the efforts put in by startups as far as the development of the economy is concerned. Unfolding under the auspices of Airport Eno, Director General of Antique, discussions were centered under the theme Information and Communication Technology at the service of education in the COVID-19 era.
Help using parents connect and provide policy tutors to their children. What's that? Parents need tutors to assist their children when they are not at home, to provide them with quality education. out there and outsource teachers that are quality teachers, and we verify them through background checks to actually verify that they are good teachers, and when parents come to us, we provide them with those teachers.
This fifth forum was an avenue for these stakeholders to brainstorm on possible ways the educative community in Konsamba will appreciate the new technological solutions which are out to innovate the sector.
Develop a platform, a mobile app and a web platform where students can go there at the comfort of their homes while studying and find these resources. And so far, we have had over 15,000 students who are making use of these resources, particularly in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. We hope through the forum of the contribution of startups in the development of the economy and the support of IT, we shall be able to get feedback and further develop this solution.
Among the objectives to be attained is their desire for these young promoters of enterprises in the digital sector to promote the usage of information and communication technologies to enable startups to adapt their working tools with the realities on the field and to create a relationship between the youths and the innovators for the betterment of all the parties concerned.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Let's now talk sport, where the indomitable Lions leave Cameroon this Wednesday, November 10th, for Johannesburg in South Africa, where they will take on Malawi in a crucial Day 5 qualification match ahead of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Despite the absence of Eric Maxime Jopo-Moting, the head coach Antonio Conceição and the team captain Vincent Abubakar are still optimistic, as Isaac Gonkum tells us in the following report.
The indomitable Lions of Cameroon held their ultimate training session at the Annex number 1 of the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé this Tuesday, 9th November 2021, before jetting off to South Africa this Wednesday. The boys of coach Antonio Conceição showed signs of resilience during Tuesday's training session in Yaoundé, proof positive that they are aware of the challenges lying ahead. Team captain Vincent Abubakar, in the brief press conference that preceded the ultimate training session, regretted the absence of some key players in the den, before adding that those present are ready to do a clean job when they take on the Flames of Malawi on Saturday, 13th November in Johannesburg, South Africa. The Lions are traveling to South Africa without forward Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, midfielders Pierre Koundé Malong and Ivan Neho. They will also miss the services of defenders Harold Mokudi and Jean-Charles Castelletto due to injury, health and family reasons. However, coach Antonio Conceição can count on the services of goalkeeper Andre Onana, defender Ambroise Oyongo Bitolo and goal poacher Leandro Tawamba Kana, who are already in the den, ready to run Saturday. The indomitable Lions beat Malawi 2-0 on the 3rd of September at the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé and will be hoping to repeat the feat against the Flames this Saturday in South Africa.
Still in sports, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Moel Ekombi, has expressed satisfaction with the advancement of works at the Lembe Stadium in Yaoundé. He was speaking this Wednesday, November 10, 2021, after an evaluation meeting to the site, as Isaac Ngonkum tells us once more.
The 60,000 capacity Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé is making remarkable progress as Cameroon narrows the official date to hand over infrastructure to the Confederation of African Football (CAF) by the end of this month. During an inspection and evaluation visit to the facility this Wednesday, 10th November 2021, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Moel Ekombi, urged the workers on the site to speed up works and guarantee Cameroon meet the CAF deadline of November 30th.
What we are asking McGill Construction and subsidiary companies is that they should do everything to stick to the constructual deadline scheduled for 30th of November. In collaboration with the different concerned and competent technical administrations, we will do everything to protect our own part of the bargain.
The president of the local organizing committee, COCAN 2021, also expressed satisfaction with progress made this far and aligned his optimism. The Olembe Stadium will be a major source of pride to the Cameroonian people come January next year.
Nous venons d'achever la visite.
I am satisfied with the remarkable rhythm of progress made here, especially in the domain of finishing works as well as the residual works which come to complete the functionality and availability of the Olembe Stadium for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations. As you already know, the Olembe Stadium can host international games of high magnitude, as was the case between the Indomitable Lions and Malawi last September 3rd.
The athletics track is currently being put in place while external decorations continue in order to give the Olembe Stadium the sparkle it deserves when the biggest football jamboree sets rolling in January 2022.
Let's now take you out of the country where 61-year-old General Gilbert Dentere, a key defendant in a trial over the 1987 assassination of Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara, has pleaded not guilty. This and more in the following international roundup. General Gilbert Dentere, a key defendant in a trial over the 1987 assassination of Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara, pleaded not guilty at the landmark proceedings on Tuesday. Dentere was allegedly an architect of a coup during which Sankara was killed and his former friend and comrade Blaise Compaoré came to power. Sankara and 12 of his colleagues were gunned down by a hit squad on October 15, 1987, at a meeting of the ruling National Revolutionary Council. Dentere, 69-year-old, faces charges of harming state security, complicity in murder concealing bodies, and witness tampering. The bodies of more than 20 children killed by a fire in a school in Niger were buried on Tuesday in the city of Maradi after a ceremony at a mosque attended by relatives and authorities. Niger has tried to fix shortages of school buildings by constructing thousands of straw and wood sheds to serve as classrooms, with children sometimes sitting on the floor. 3 of these classrooms made of straw were consumed by the fire at the preschool and primary school called AFN in Maradi. 3 days of mourning have therefore been declared in the Maradi region to honor the lives of these children. The Ethiopian authorities have detained 16 United Nations staff members and dozens of drivers who were supposed to ferry food aid into the rebel-held Tigray region. The 16 UN staff members were seized in recent days in the capital, Addis Ababa. The United Nations are, however, seeking their immediate release. The UN in Ethiopia said this Wednesday that the authorities had detained about 70 drivers who had been hired to transport relief aid into the Tigray region. These drivers have been held since November 3, 2021. Nevertheless, the UN is following up continuously with Ethiopian federal and regional authorities for their immediate release. Ladies and gentlemen, that news out of the country brings us to an end of the 6 p.m. English news. But before we go, a reminder of our major stories. Passengers plying the Boya-Kumba Stretch Road in the southwest region were intercepted recently by separatist fighters on the grounds of disrespecting the traditional ghost towns instituted by the separatist fighters over 5 years now. with focus to discourage illegal migration within the sub-Saharan zone. The minister delegate at the Ministry of External Relations in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbanyo, granted in audience this Wednesday, November 10th, the Equator Guinean ambassador to Cameroon, Armando Kato. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, who doubles as the president of the local organizing committee of the 2021 AFCON, Narcisse Moel Ekombi, has this Wednesday, November 10th, expressed satisfaction with the advancement of works at the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé. Meet Desiree Trésor Mbonnet at exactly 8 p.m. for news in the French language. But until then, do stay tuned in the company of interesting programs over at the Camdis television. Have a wonderful evening.